Hello, this is a video for Todd Revito's SensorCraft. So before we get started, we are going to assume that you have Python downloaded and installed on your computer and the latest version of SensorCraft cloned onto your desktop, and also that you've completed part 1 and part 2 of these tutorials. Alright, so let's begin. Pyramids can be a really challenging structure to build in a block-based game because of all of the repetition, but they're essentially smaller and smaller squares laid on top of each other. So before we build a pyramid, we're going to create a bunch of functions, right, as you would do when you're coding. So we're going to open up a terminal. I like Git Bash, but it's also called PowerShell on Windows devices. So if you cd or change your directory to your desktop, your SensorCraft, and your code, we want to copy, so cp 01, and you can hit tab. It'll fill in most of the way. We're going to go to part 2 underscore abr. Part 2 underscore abr.py. We want to copy that to 01 building automatically part 3 underscore your initials.py. And this is a pretty big file, but like we talked about in the last tutorial, having descriptive names is always a good thing. So then we want to open up idle, and we want to open the file that we just made, so SensorCraft code, right? Part 3 ABR. There you go. All right, so we want to add a method that takes two x, y, and z points as parameters, and then adds the blocks in between those 2 points. So let's call this new function or method add blocks, and we'll place it on line 259. So if you can see the line number down here in this corner, it just takes some scrolling. So 2, we passed it. 259, so that'll be around here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you place it in between the add block and remove block functions, you'll be all good. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is define our function called add blocks, and then we'll take the parameters, right? Our self position, position 1, position 2, texture, and then we'll have this immediate equals true. And so I'm just going to fast forward the coding process, and we have full links to where you can find the code in the description, and if you look through your folder, you'll have full sources of code. So I'll just fast forward until I'm all done. Okay, so now we have all of our code, and don't worry if it seems a little complicated, and don't feel bad if you don't understand all of it. Python for loops uses the range function, which doesn't include the last number in the range. So remember, we have to add the +1 to the very end. And to make sure the ranges increment in the proper direction, we check the arguments to determine the start of each of the ranges for x, y, and z. X start, y start, y start. Just like that. And then finally, we use 3 for loops to fill in all the blocks similar to what we have just done in the previous chapters. And it's reasonable not to care how the add blocks method works and just to use it when we need it. So the next thing we need to do is go to the on key press function. Alright, so that's right here. And we want to change this from key B to key P, just like that. And then we also want to come down here and change this from build wall to build pyramid. Alright, just like that. And then we're going to find the build wall function, which is right here. And we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to make our build pyramid function. So you can find the code in the description or a link to the code. I'm going to fast forward and come back when I've typed it out. Okay, so I just finished typing my build pyramid function. And what this method does is it lays a square that has a width of -1 for every layer it creates. So every layer is 1 block smaller. And the add blocks method is employed. Where is it? Right here. So it uses it right here to make the build pyramid method simpler, right? Because instead of having to type the add blocks function every single time, we can just call it with certain parameters. So now if we go ahead and save and then run our program, it takes a second to load. There we go. And then we want to go to right here and then do P, and it looks like it went over here, and sometimes, oh, right here. So it's kind of hard to see because it's also built with sand, but you can see that this is where our pyramid would be. And if we escape and run it again, like this, if we go, there we go. Now we are inside of the pyramid, which is kind of weird. But now you can see where the pyramid spawned, just like that. And if you want to change where the pyramid spawns, you can change these values right here. And that will change where it spawns, right? Because right now it's going at 0, 0, -10. So this is the end of 0, 1 building automatically tutorial. Thank you very much for using SensorCraft. Happy crafting!